This is the view of sailing vessel Adaia's cockpit. I'm currently standing in the companionway of the pilot house looking aft. As you can see, we have a helm station in the cockpit, in addition to a helm station in the pilot house. It's quite a snug cockpit. Stepping out of the pilot house / companionway, moving to the port side of the boat to get a side view of the cockpit, looking aft. You'll notice that Adaia does not have a standard cockpit helm station. The wheel is designed to be behind the helmsman. I'm currently standing at the helm station in the cockpit of Adaia, and just for perspective, I'm going to travel down through the companionway and pilot house, going aft down to where our hydraulic bypass valve is currently located, and it's here in the port corner. So the valve is located just in this locker just here, and it's simply a 90-degree turn. So down, the hydraulic system is operating. 90 degrees, the hydraulic system has been bypassed. So the hydraulic system is currently bypassed, and Josh will show using the emergency tiller. So you will note it's reasonably easy to turn, stationary, but Adaia does not feel like a natively tiller steered vessel when underway. So we're going to show how many turns of the wheel it takes to get from centre to a complete one side, and I'm sure you're already aware, but I can't stress enough that the number of turns of the wheel depends on how fast you are turning the wheel. And we have marked the center at the moment just so we can see how many turns we have, but we don't have this on normally, as there is no center like a cable steered boat. So hopefully you can see the tiller arm here, and Josh is just going to turn the wheel until we get to a complete turn, and we'll see how many turns. That's 1, 2 turns,
3
turns,
and a bit,
3 and a bit turns to go from the rudder being centered to hard over, and we'll go back the other way just so we can see how many turns to go from hard over to hard over. So it's 1, 2 turns, 3 turns to get back to center.
Okay, here we go.
4, 5,
2,
and 6. 6 and a bit turns to go from hard over to hard over. And then we have 1, 2, 3 turns to go back to centre, or 2 and a bit turns to go back to centre.
Well, I noticed I went faster then and it was less.
And you'll note, as Josh has said, he has turned the wheel faster, and so slightly less turns to get back to centre. So in this setup you can see the emergency tiller. It is attached directly to the top of the transom hung rudder, just through a series of bolts. Runs through the railing at the back and then over the back deck box. We can, through a system of pulleys and lines, run the emergency tiller back to the wheel in the cockpit helm station and potentially steer the boat with the emergency tiller from the cockpit helm station. And you'll see here that the emergency rudder is, emergency tiller I should say, my bad, is just over 33 inches long. Now we do have plans to extend this emergency tiller by up to 1 metre, because obviously it will give us greater leverage on turning that rudder. And you can see here the height of the emergency tiller from the top of the rudder is roughly 28 inches. So the back deck box is integral to the deck. In the top half is just the usual fuel hodgepodge stuff, but the actual deck box then flips forward, and then our aft lazarette, I guess you could call it, is where our gas bottles are stored, and also where you will see the hydraulic ram arm for the rudder, and we'll get in there momentarily to give you some more detail. So I'm currently on the port aft corner of the boat, directly above where the bypass valve is located, and then you can see our hydraulic ram in the aft lazarette / gas locker. So these pipes just here lead back directly to the steering, but also to the bypass valve. And I'll try as best I can to get in here and show you the actual hydraulic steering system. Okay, and Josh is moving this as we are scanning. So we're just measuring here from the back of the deck box to the bulwark, and you'll note there that that space is 1 foot wide. However, noting that there is a slight overhang from the top of the deck box, and then that bulwark itself is, if Josh, if you could just show me how tall that is. That bulwark there is roughly 3 inches tall. You may not be able to see that, so there we go. It's roughly 3 inches tall. So I mentioned a slight overhang from the top of the deck box, and you can just see there that is about 5 inches tall. And we'll now just close the back deck box just so you can get an idea of how that overhang sits over the back of the transom there. And so we'll just show you that back deck box closing now, and we'll hopefully give you a good view of where that overhang sits. You can sort of see the bulwark there, the back of the deck box, and then there's that slight overhang from the seat on the top of the deck box. So we're just going to show you how wide the solar arch is to give you an idea of the space available for a wind vane, and we're looking at roughly 67 inches from one side to the other, and then going aft along the actual arm of the solar arch, or the dinghy arch, we're looking at roughly 53 inches. And as you can see there, you can see the angle that that goes out on there. Right, so we're now on the dinghy, so we can give you an overview of the transom of the boat. So as you can see, she has a transom hung rudder, and we'll try as best we can to show you the, I guess, the negative angle of the transom, and how high the transom is, or the top of the transom is from the waterline, and how much space is available back here for a wind vane installation. So we've rigged up a plumb bob, which we can hopefully use to get an accurate height to show you above the waterline, and we'll also try to show you the angle, the negative angle of the transom to the waterline, and give you a distance there as well. Alright, so we have a plumb bob rigged up just to show you the height. So Josh, if you can throw that tape measure on there please. So the top of the transom from the waterline, we are roughly 62 inches there. We'll show you that negative aspect as well. And this is how far that rudder sticks out. We're looking around 20 inches, 21 inches.
So middle there, yeah, 21.5.
21.5 inches.
Okay.
From the waterline to the rear of the rudder. But
Yep.
we'll show you that as well. The rudder from the transom to the back of the boat is roughly 20 inches. And we'll now show you a side view just so you can see that aspect. Oh, sorry, we'll actually show you along the back of the boat so you can sort of work out that, that angle. We're looking at roughly 65 inches from the waterline directly along the back of the transom to the top, 66 inches. So we're going to row out from the boat just so you can get a side and rear aspect. So as we come alongside now, you can see that swept back transom there and the actual rudder. We can go around the other way, Josh. And as we come back the other way now, get a good view of the transom and the rudder. If you can still see the plumb bob pump there as well, gives you an idea of the angle. The solar arch, and we'll measure how high the solar arch is from the waterline as well and get you that number. And here we are on the starboard side. Give you an idea of that angle we're working with here. And what I'm trying to show you here is just into that aft lazarette, and you might be able to see some of the hydraulic system in the aft of that lazarette there. What we're trying to show here as well, because it was a little bit difficult to get it whilst in the dinghy, but the distance from the rudder to the how wide the transom is, and you are looking at around about 47 inches.
I'll go to the other side.
And then from corner to corner, we're looking at roughly 97 inches for the transom width. So we just want to show you the height of the rail on the transom as well. So from the deck to the top rail is 32 inches. From the deck to the middle rail is roughly 20 inches. And then from the deck to the very bottom rail is around about 12 inches.